Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. So first of all, I really apologize from you to all about the delay after uploading the video introduction to this channel. So there was a couple of reasons behind the delay, but I am here with the first video of the programming fundamentals playlist. Okay, so in this video we will cover all the programming basics. We will start our programming fundamentals from the tomorrow video, or you can say second video, but in this video we will cover the basics which I think that every programmer or beginner which is going to, or who is going to start the programming journey, he should know before starting it. In this video we will discuss very basics, and maybe from of some of you can't understand the concepts which I discuss in this video, but don't worry, after watching the later on videos which get uploaded soon, you will be able to understand these concepts, and at that time you will say, oh, that was the concept actually which I was missing. So, and other thing I want to mention that the language of this video and the other videos which I am going to upload later will be in English, and the first video which I uploaded, introduction to this channel, was in Urdu. After uploading the first video, I realized that the Urdu is maybe everyone don't know the Urdu language, but the English is the language which is possible. There is a possibility that most of the people know the English language. So I decided to make the videos in English so that most of the people get benefits from my videos. Okay, so thank you very much, and let's get started. So okay guys, so here is the outline of our programming fundamentals. Okay, so these all the things which we cover in the playlist of programming fundamental. So in this today video we are going to discuss introduction to programming. So problem solving, introduction to programming and programs, types of languages, compiler versus interpreter, and a couple of things more which we will discuss in this video. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So problem solving. So actually, what is program? Why we write programs? We write programs to solve the problems which exist in the real life. So we have to solve them, and we have solutions for it using programs. Okay, so yeah, here is mentioned we use programming to solve problems. Simple definition of programming is that we use it for the solution as a solution for the problems. Okay, so that's how we can say it's connected with the problem solving. Programs are connected with the problem solving. So here I want to mention the SDLC. This is the concept which is not for the beginner, but I want to mention it. Maybe some of you are from the background of computer science, they will get understand of it, but some of you are not from the background of our computer science, so I apologize from them to discuss this, but after watching the later videos they will get understand this concept deeply. So I am not going deep in the SDLC, but I am just covering the basics of it. So I hope that the non-technical or non-familiar with the computer science students will get understand of it. Okay, so SDLC actually stands for software development life cycles. Okay, first of all we have a problem, and we for solving this problem we have to use programming. Okay, so this programming is actually should be efficient. For making it efficient we use SDLC. SDLC has 6 parts, or you can say 6 steps. After following these 6 steps we will be able to develop efficient program for our problem. Okay, so let us discuss the step by step. Okay, so first step is define the problem. Okay, so most of us are most of us start doing the solution, or start searching the solution of the problem without any idea or clear idea about the problem. This is the very basics problem with the beginners, or you can say most of the programmers. Okay, so we should have the clear understanding of the problem in order to give the efficient solution for the problem, or efficient program for the problem. Okay, so the first step is to define the problem. You should have clear understanding of the problem. Second step is about the analysis and design. This step is about the analysis of a problem. First you define the problem, then you analysis what can be the solutions of that problem. There will be multiple solutions of that problem. After analysis, you will, after analysis, you do design of that, of all the solutions which you get from the analysis. After the design helps you to choose the best solution or efficient solution. Okay, so actually the design, you can check the number of lines, or you can think about the how much number of lines this design would be take. Okay, so this all about the these things are all about the analysis and the designs. First you analysis, and the second thing you design it. Okay, so third step is coding, which is very common step, most of you familiar with it. So coding step is actually translating your design into the language is your favorite, it can be your favorite language, but you can write your code in any language, it doesn't matter. We will discuss in the below which kind of languages are and what I mean by the languages. Okay, so coding is it's nothing but a text you write for your problem in the particular language. Okay, so next step is to testing. After writing code, after you at this step you write your program for the solution. Okay, in the fourth step you are testing it, if, either it is work or not. Okay, so fifth step is implementation. You implement it whether where it is required, and in sixth step you maintain it. With the passage of time, everything is get to up to date, so we have to make our project or our program up to date with the passage of time. Okay, so this is called as maintenance. These are the steps which are of the SDLC, so we should follow them for the efficient use of the programming. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you don't have an idea yet about the SDLC, but if you get, then it's good. Okay, in the later videos you will get idea of them. Okay, so next step is to introduction to programming and programs. As I said, it's nothing but a solution of your problem. So it's how you write the solution. Okay, you pass some instructions to the computer which are able to solve your problem. So writing some instruction to your to solve the problem is called programming. Okay, so this is the simple concept of programming. You simply pass some instructions to the computer for the problem, or your goal should be to use minimum number of lines. As I discussed above, design phase will tell you, or you can imagine that, or you can get the probability that this solution will have that particular lines of code, this number of lines of code this solution will have. Okay, so these all the things are interrelated to each other, like design is related to less number of lines, and the solution which have less number of lines is efficient and good because it takes less time. Okay, so that's all about the programming and program. After programming, it become program. Like you are writing program, then it's called as programming. After writing program, then you complete it, then it is called as a programs. Okay, so after that, the next concept we are going to discuss is IDE. What is IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Life Cycle. Okay, so you need some place where you are going to write your program for the solution for the your program for the solution of your problem. Okay, so IDE stands for Integrated Development Life Cycle. Okay, so it's a space, or you can say it's an environment where you write your program, and there are multiple IDE, VS Code, NetBeans, and there are a lot. You can choose your favorite, but my favorite it's VS Code, and I am using it right here. Okay, so VS Code is my favorite IDE, which allow us multiple things. Okay, so IDE is where you write your program. Okay, so the software which is I am currently using, it's a VS Code. Okay, so next concept is our types of languages. Okay, so now we are going to discuss types of languages. Above we discussed that we write our program or coding we do in some particular language. So here is languages. There are two type of languages: high level language, low level language. Okay, so high level language is the language which is very close to the you can say which is very close to the human understanding. Okay, low level language is the language which is very close to the machine. Okay, or it is in the form of 0 and 1, which is, you know, it's very difficult for the human to understand the low level language. So it's very close to machine but far from the human. High level language is very close to human but far from the machine. Okay, so we code in the high level languages, and there are some software which convert high level languages to low level language, called as compiler and interpreter. We discussed we discuss it in the current video later. Okay, so high level language and the low level language we discuss it. So high level, what are the high level languages? There are three types of high level languages which are close to human, like procedural languages, object oriented languages, and non procedural language. So first of all, let me discuss procedural languages. These languages don't have the concept of OOP. OOP, what is OOP? So don't worry, OOP stands for object oriented programming. We will discuss it in detail in the later videos, but for now you have to just understand the basic concept. Procedural languages are those which have don't OOP, or you can say which don't have real time relations, real world, which is not very close to the real world, or you can say far from the real world. Object oriented language, those languages which have the concept of OOP, or which are very close to the real world, and it allow us the reusability. In the procedural languages, we write functions, and if the same thing is needed, then we have to write the same function at the other place, which costs the maximum number of lines. As we said, we should need, our goal should be to minimum number of lines, but in the procedural languages it increases our lines. But in the OOP, we can use the reusability. Once we write the code, then we can use it at the multiple places. Okay, so next type actually is non-procedural languages. These are the languages which tells the computer how to do. Above two parts are telling what to do, third part is telling how to do. SQL, as structured query language, it's a database language for the database handling, but we will discuss in detail later. But here the concept you should know: non-procedural languages which tell the computer how to do or what you want and how to get it. Okay, that's are the non-procedural languages. Okay, so low level language, as we discussed, these are close or very close to the machine language. So machine, not a machine language, actually a machine. Okay, so it has two parts: machine language and the assembly language. So machine language is actually a low, it's actually a low level language, which is the 0 and 1 form. Assembly language is what, it's, you can say, middle language, which is not close to the human and even not close to the machine language. It's actually a short forms of the things, like for the addition we use add, and for the subtraction we use sub. So assembly language is something we discuss in the current video later, but for converting it from assembly language to the machine language, we use assembler, and assembler will I am going to discuss below. Okay, so simply you can say assembly language are those which have the shortcuts for the add and sub, which is understandable, you can say difficult but understandable for the human. Okay, and we convert it into the machine language using the assembler. Where we use assembly language, we will discuss in the below, we discuss it below. Okay, so here are the language translators. Okay, so above we discussed there are two types: high level and low level, but but low level is close to the machine, high level is close to the human. So how to convert high level to low level? So we have language translator. So there are three language translator: compiler, interpreter, and assembler. Assembler is discussed here, but we are going to discuss it into some little bit detail. Okay, so what is compiler? Compiler is something which converts your code as a whole. Like let's assume this is your program code. Okay, so what compiler will do, it's read the whole your program at once and then give error, while interpreter will simply read your code one line by line. Okay, so it will read first line, and if there is no error, then go to the second line, and if the second line contain error, then it will give error and not go to the third line. Okay, so that's how interpreter works. So compiler is used in the simple languages and the interpreter is used in the scripted languages. Compiler is used in non-scripted, interpreter is used in the scripted language like Python, JavaScript. Okay, so these are the concepts which we will discuss later, but for now it's good to understand it. Okay, so the third language translator is assembler. So what is assembler? Assembler, as I discussed, it converts assembly language and sub into the machine code simply. So that is the language translator for the assembly language. Why we need assembly language, we are going to discuss below. Okay, so compiler working. So now we are going to discuss the compiler working. Here is the main concept. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, a more little bit. Yeah, now. Okay, so compiler working. First of all, source code. Suppose or assume that this is your code, what you write for the problem solution. Okay, so this is called as a source code. Whatever you write in the IDE is called as a source code. Source code is converted into the assembly language. Okay, compiler convert your source code into the assembly language, and then we need assembler to convert that assembly language into the object code, or you can say machine language or object code. Then linker make a executable file with it's a function of a linker to make executable file of the object code or the machine code. Okay, and the loader function is that to place executable file into the memory. Okay, so that's how the compiler works. First the source code assembly language, and then move to the object code, and object code is as linker get the executable file from the object code. So, and loader places the executable file into the memory. So let me discuss the linker. Okay, so as we discussed, it's convert the object code and attach. Yeah, it's an important thing. Linker, when we are writing code, compiler just read the prototype of the functions, and the definition of the function get attached to the prototype of the function by the help of linkers. Similarly, the cout in the C++ is also get its definition with the help of linkers. So if you are not understanding, don't worry, you will get understand after the later on videos. Okay, so these are the things that the linker do, and linker also arrange the object in required order and then execute the file, then make executable file. Okay, so linker work is simple, which what it do is simple. It's simply, you can say, it's attach the prototype or with the definition and simply arrange the object code and produce the executable file, and that particular executable file it's placed by the loader into the memory. Okay, so that's how the whole compiler working done. So after placing, the output is in your screen. Okay, that's how the compiler working takes place. Okay, last but not the least, we have the concept of compile time versus runtime. Okay, so compile time and versus runtime. uh, when you are writing code, like this is, assume that is your code. Okay, this is the time of compile. Okay, you are not doing anything, you just write the code, so it is called as a compile time. And then any error like syntax error, then we can say that it's a compile time error. Okay, and what is runtime then? Runtime is something when you execute, when you place the when you place your file into the memory with the help of loader. Okay, so with the help of loader, when you place your executable file into the memory, then any error occur, if any, in case if any error occur when the after the loader place the executable file into the memory, then that kind of error is called as a runtime error, or it's this error is called as a exception. Okay, so this is called as a exception. And any error that we get for because of the input which the user insert into the program, and our program get crashed, so we can say that it's a runtime error, which is because it is crashed by the input of user. So it's a running time. Okay, compile time is when you are writing code, and that's all about the compile time. And runtime is when loader places your executable file into the memory, and then you are using your program, and because of the wrong input, or because of some lost connection, and because some of reason you get lost your program or crash your program, then it is called as a runtime error. Okay, so that's all. And today we discussed about this couple of lines, and let me sum up all the things. Problem solving, we discuss problem solving, what is the problem, and we get its solutions, and these solutions are written in some programming language, and this is called as programming. After writing, it's called as a program. Okay, so introduction to programming we did it, and programs we did it, and after that we have types of languages, we high level language, low level language, and its type, we discussed its types, and we also discuss compiler and interpreter, and at the end we also discuss about the compiler working and the compile time versus runtime. Like when you're writing code, that compile time when your file is executable file placed in the memory and then error occur, that's a runtime error. And the compiler working is something which is a source code converted into the assembly, and assembly then a machine, and then machine into the executable file with the help of linker, and that executable file placed into the memory with the help of loader. So that's all about for the today that's all about for the today lecture. Okay, so thank you very much. Jazakallah for watching. Allah Hafiz.